Thanks, Grady, and thanks everyone for coming today. So I'll spend today talking about our recently acquired Independence Gold Project. It's an advanced gold project located in the Battle Mountain region of Nevada. It's about 20 minutes drive from the town of Battle Mountain and just over an hour from the fully serviced mining town of Elko. It has an NI 43-101 mineral resource of 1.18 million ounces of gold and 7.6 million ounces of silver. There's a high-grade component within that of 796,200 ounces of gold at 6.53 grams per tonne gold. There's a measured and indicated portion of 334,300 ounces of gold, and we sit directly adjacent, neighbouring the Phoenix Gold Complex, which is NGM's marquee complex in Nevada, and we share the same approvals as them, which I'll get into a little bit later. Those approvals would allow us for an 8 to 12 months approval pathway. What some of the recent drilling done by the previous owners intercepted 24.4 metres at 9.1 grams per tonne gold and 25.2 grams per tonne silver. Now this particular area is outside the mineral resource and is yet to be followed up, so that is a high priority target for us. Corporate structure post-transaction is just under 90 million shares on issue. We closed on Tuesday at 86 cents. We're actually in the middle of a capital raise currently, which just capitalises us at just over $77 million fully diluted. We have 2.74 million cash in the bank, and we're currently raising 5 as we speak. Board, management and founders hold up over 50% of the company. So a little bit of background on the board. So myself, 20 years experience in the mining and exploration space. Spent 5 years as commercial manager at Newmont across their Boddington gold mine and Tanami gold mine. Also led the commercial team for the Winu copper gold study and led Fortescue's T155 project commercial team, which took their iron ore output from 55 million tonnes up to 155 million tonnes. I'm also the founder of Sun Silver, which has a large silver asset in Nevada also. Gerard O'Donovan, non-executive chair, currently the executive director for Sun Silver, and was previously managing director of Battery Age Minerals. Judy Baker, non-executive director, currently the CEO and president of Argo Gold, a Canadian-listed gold explorer. She also spent 8 years at Nemaska Lithium. Nemaska Lithium had the largest lithium asset in all of North America up until early last year. And Dina Segovic, non-executive director, currently non-executive chair of Sun Silver, also the founding director and chief operating officer of Primero Group, where he spent 11 years until they sold to NRW. Primero is a leader, an Australian leader in engineering, procurement and construction. So we sit within Nevada. It's a world-class jurisdiction, consistently ranked in the top 3 of the Fraser Institute for the top mining jurisdictions. 3 times of the past 10 years it's been number 1. No Australian state has come close to matching Nevada, so it's really important that people wrap their head around how good of a jurisdiction Nevada is, and it's treated separate to the rest of the US. I mentioned earlier we're direct neighbours with NGM, which is a Newmont Barrick JV. You can see on the screen there's a light coloured shade. That's the plan of operations that Newmont undertook originally, and then it's morphed into the joint venture. We sit on that, and I'll detail how much of a value creator that is for us. We have world-class infrastructure, sealed roads, power, which is public power right through the border of the property, and we also hold the water rights over the property for all future operation. So there is no hurdles or risks for us to get into operations. So just on the permitting assessment pathway, to get a new project up and running in Nevada, you need to go through what's called an environmental impact statement, or an EIS. That can take approximately 24 months and cost up to $5 million. That's been completed by Newmont. That's all your baseline flora and fauna surveys. They're all seasonal, so if you miss a season, you need to wait for the next year to undertake them. We don't have to do that. That's completed. Tick that box. That then generates what's called a record of decision. In this case, it's a positive record of decision, and then generates the plan of operations, which was that light-coloured shade that was on the previous slide. Now, for us, we're seen as a project amendment to that plan of operations, which is a short 8 to 12-month process and kind of caps out at about $100,000 cost. So once that project amendment is in place, we're then approved to go and operate and mine. So it's a huge value asset for the company. We have NI 43-101 mineral resource split into the near surface and the skarn. The near surface is a high-level epithermal system, which is the leakage from the skarn that sits underneath. It's important to emphasise that this asset was held by a private entity, and there's a significant portion of the drilling which terminated in mineralisation. Their main driver was to drill out dense, kind of secluded areas and build a starter pit. We see that the whole property has potential to become a significant mineral resource. The skarn, which sits underneath, dark highlight on the screen, delineates about 25% of the property, with a lighter shade, the prospective zone. Why is that prospective? All neighbouring properties has intercepted this same skarn mineralisation. Just to the right, Newmont mined the Fortitude skarn in the 1980s and 1990s, 2.3 million ounces at 5 grams per tonne gold. So given that only 25% of the project's being drilled out, I think you can do your own calculations on how large this asset could become. So on the near surface resource, I mentioned the 24.4 metres at 9.1 grams per tonne gold. That's the red box on the right-hand side of the screen. This is an oxide zone outside the mineral resource pit. So there's a high priority area for us to add higher grade oxide tonnes to this near surface mineralisation. There's a high grade component within that of 18.3 metres at 12.06 grams per tonne gold and 9.1 metres at 23.16 grams per tonne gold. Some other intercepts that we thought would highlight: 44.2 metres at 4.19 grams per tonne gold, 6.1 metres with a high grade component of 6.1 metres at 26.47 grams per tonne gold, 47.2 metres, 1.3 grams per tonne gold, and 13.7 metres at 9.5 grams per tonne gold, and with a high-grade component of 6.1 metres at 19.83 grams per tonne gold. So these are world-class drill intercepts, and given that drilling's terminated in mineralisation, there is huge potential to expand this at depth and to the regional targets, which I'll get on to in the next slide. So we got on the ground recently and undertook some rock sampling in the regional areas of the property. Might be a bit hard to see, but this Rebel Peak area up there, we've got 4 samples at over 11.7 grams per tonne. This area has never been drilled. For a private entity, about $100,000 to put in the roads up there was not seen as a priority. They were focused on this lower area down here, as it's easier access, and they wanted to get that area into a starter pit. The geoscience team that had been out on site believed that this lower area and the higher area on the eastern boundary sat at the same level at a certain point in time, and a slip fault's occurred where it's basically slipped down and rested at that lower point. What that has done, exposed higher grade outcrops at surface, and that's where we're looking to target some of our drilling to expand that mineral resource out to the, basically right to the eastern boundary of the property. So we announced on Tuesday that drilling's underway, so initially a 2,000 metre drill program. It's a mix of RC and diamond. The diamond drilling is going to generate some structural data for the project, as well as test the mineralisation at depth past where drilling has previously terminated. The RC will also target this Rebel Peak. up to the eastern side of the boundary, and if successful, could increase the strike to as much as 600 metres outside the mineral resource area and previous drilling. So this initial drilling will complete early in the new year, and then with the capital that we're raising as part of the current capital raise, we'll look to roll out another program. Probably a really important slide for anyone in the room that isn't familiar with Nevada. I think this is the complex that sits next door and some of the figures and parameters around it. They operate out of this Fortitude pit in the pink outline up the top, 240,000 ounces per year at a grade of about 0.32 grams per tonne gold. Mining, $3.08, processing, $3.17. So all in, $6.25 per tonne of ore mined and processed. Now I think that's cheaper to mine and process a tonne of ore than it is to get a coffee out on Collins Street currently, so that's telling you something. You've then got the 4 complexes that the NGM run currently down the bottom, and as you can see, Carlin, Cortez, Turquoise Ridge, and the Phoenix complex, which is the one that we basically neighbour onto. Now they run at Phoenix at $1,048 an ounce, all in sustaining costs. That is phenomenal. Huge amounts of profit. A lot of people say grade is king. I think profit's king. So forward-looking strategy, we're converting the NI 43-101 mineral resource to JORC as we speak. Drilling's underway, looking for expansion at depth as well as to the regional targets. We're also looking to target the skarn mineralisation, as there's huge potential in that, which I outlined earlier. There's some previous studies that were undertaken. Once we expand this resource, we'll be looking to update those parameters and generate our own commercial models, as well as progressing the permitting, which I'd spent a bit of time on earlier in the preso. Probably one thing I would stress to everyone, if you don't know Nevada, take some time to get to understand it. It is the best mining jurisdiction for gold globally. The NGM complex has produced 3.3 million ounces of gold per year. You cannot do that if you're not in a well-supported area from an infrastructure, government, and personnel perspective. So Nevada is awesome. I suggest to get to know it and understand how profitable low grade can be. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your conference.